Here is a handbag that people are snapping up for 2,600 euros, a luxury item made in Italy, bearing the signature of one of the most prestigious names in French fashion, Dior. Except that an investigation by the Italian judiciary revealed the real manufacturing cost of this bag, 53 euros.
Leather for the biggest brands. Layers of subcontractors, worker broken by the job and sometimes even mistreated.
53 euros to make 2,600. And the craziest thing about this story is not that it exists, but that it's perfectly legal and it isn't just about luxury. Because this technique, exactly the same one, is hidden behind almost everything you're wearing right now. The t-shirt you think is cotton, the glasses you believe you chose freely, the leather of your shoes, the ring on your finger, everything is based on a carefully constructed illusion. But how can a company legally sell you an item for 50 times its manufacturing costs? Why isn't the cotton you buy entirely cotton? Why do some brands burn new products instead of selling them at lower prices? Hi Team Mindset, I hope you're doing well. This is Robin, glad to see you again on Entrepreneur Mindset. Today we're exposing modern consumerism's biggest illusion, paying for a story instead of just an object. This all relies on one principle, an economic mechanism that won a Nobel Prize and is used by brands against you, often without your knowledge. By the end of this video, you'll have a reflex that 99% of people don't have, and it's going to change the way you spend your money. It all starts with the smallest detail of a piece of clothing, the one that nobody really reads, the label, because that's where the first lie is hidden. Let's get back to our Dior bag. How can it be made for 53 euros, proudly carry the Made in Italy label, and be sold for a fortune? Thanks to a little-known European rule, the law says that a product can be labeled Made in Italy as long as the last substantial transformation took place in Italy.
Under Italian law, for a product to carry the Made in Italy label, only the last substantial transformation needs to happen in Italy.
In other words, a bag can be 90% made elsewhere. If a handle or a zipper is added in Italy, it legally becomes Italian.
The stakes couldn't be higher. The Made in Italy label adds substantial value to products, allowing them to command premium pricing worldwide. But that value is built on a promise of quality and ethical production, a promise that appears to be increasingly questionable.
The Italian investigation I mentioned earlier also targeted other giants like Armani, where subcontracted workshops were paid a pittance while the bag was sold for hundreds of times that price. And this labeling lie is everywhere, even in your everyday drawer. Take your t-shirt labeled 100% cotton. Well, it's almost never really 100% cotton. The seams, the threads, even the label itself very often contain polyester, which means plastic. The regulations allow those components to go undeclared. But the world champion of label lies is bamboo. They sell you bamboo clothing, presented as natural, eco-friendly, soft, and antibacterial. Well, hold on tight. There's not a single gram of bamboo in bamboo clothing. To make it, the plant is dissolved in harsh chemicals. What comes out is viscose. It's the same fabric you would get from any other plant. I'm not the one saying this, it's the American courts. The regulator imposed heavy fines on giants like Walmart, $3 million, or Kohl's, $2.5 million, precisely for selling viscose disguised as bamboo. And even leather lies to you. When you buy a genuine leather item, you think you're getting something solid. In reality, genuine leather is real leather, but it's the lowest layer, the least noble, a low-end product. And there's even worse, bonded leather, so-called reconstituted leather. There it's scraps and leftover pieces that are ground up, glued together, and then covered with a printed plastic layer to imitate the grain. Real good leather goes by other names, full grain or top grain. So the label doesn't inform you, it sells you a story. But if the words are already lying, there's an even more troubling question. Are you really choosing what you buy? The answer is no, and I'm going to prove it to you. Imagine you walk into a sunglasses store. In front of you are dozens of different brands. Ray-Ban, Oakley, Prada, Chanel, Versace, various prices, various styles. You say that you have plenty of choices and that you're going to compare to find the best value for money. Except that this choice is a complete illusion, because in the vast majority of cases, all these brands you think are rivals actually belong to or are manufactured under license by a single company. a Franco-Italian giant called EssilorLuxottica.
In 2025, EssilorLuxottica reports 28 to 28.5 billion euros in revenue, more than 200,000 employees, around 18,000 stores, 600 operational sites, a presence in 150 countries, and 300,000 eye care professionals served.
This group owns the brands, it owns the factories, it also owns entire retail chains, and even part of the vision insurance industry. In other words, the shelf in front of you isn't real competition. It's a display owned by the same company that makes you think there's competition when there isn't. And the price difference is staggering. Former industry executives have revealed that a pair of glasses that costs just a few euros to produce can be sold for several hundred euros. What you're paying for isn't the plastic and the glass. It's the logo printed on the arm. And this system, one company controlling an entire market while giving the illusion of choice, can also be found in an even more intimate sector. Love diamonds. You've always been told that a diamond is rare, it's precious, and that's why it's so expensive. That's not true. Diamonds aren't rare. There are huge quantities of them underground. Their outrageous price was completely manufactured by a single company, De Beers, which controlled the global supply for decades and launched the most effective advertising campaign in history.
The diamond engagement ring. How can a month's salary last forever? A diamond is forever. De Beers.
This company in the late 1940s ingrained the idea that a diamond is eternal in our minds. And in the United States, in the 1980s, it was still the same company that invented the rule that a ring should cost 2 months' salary, a standard pulled out of a marketer's hat, not from economic reality. And the ultimate proof of the scam is today. We know how to make diamonds in a lab that are physically identical to mined diamonds. Same carbon, same sparkle, impossible to tell apart without a machine. And they cost between 70 and 85% less. The same stone for a fraction of the price. The only difference is the story you're being told. So you're not really choosing, and you're paying for a rarity that's often made up. But there's still one last level to this illusion, the craziest of all. Some brands are willing to destroy their own new products rather than let you buy them for less. In 2018, the British luxury brand Burberry, which we've already talked about in detail on the channel, admitted something astonishing in its own annual report. That year, it destroyed about $37 million worth of new products. Clothes, bags, perfumes, never worn, never sold, deliberately went up in smoke.
The British brand Burberry revealed that it destroyed $37 million worth of new goods to protect against counterfeiting.
The obvious question is, why burn new items instead of selling them, discounting them, or giving them away? The answer is chillingly logical. If this 1,000 euro coat ends up being discounted or given away, it ends up on the street at an affordable price. And a luxury brand can't allow that. Because everything that luxury sells is based on a single idea. Rarity. It's exclusive, it's expensive, most people can't have it. The day anyone can afford it, the brand loses what justifies its prices. So to keep up the illusion of rarity, they literally have to burn what's left. And Burberry is far from alone. Other luxury giants have been documented destroying their unsold goods on a massive scale. The group that owns Cartier admitted to having destroyed billions of euros worth of watches to support prices. And this practice doesn't stop at luxury goods. A brand like H&M has also been called out. And it's not just a story about luxury goods being destroyed. Scarcity is also artificially created in a world you might know better. Sneakers. When a highly coveted pair is released, the brand deliberately produces too few of them. As a result, they sell out in seconds and are then resold for 10 times their price. It's not an accident, it's organized scarcity to build up the hype.
The Air Yeezy 2 and the Air Yeezy 2 Red Octobers. Retailing at over $200, the shoes were released in extremely limited quantities and sold out instantaneously. They now resell for thousands of dollars. The success of the shoes finally put West on the map in the fashion industry.
The resale world is also plagued by shady practices, where pairs reserved for regular customers are secretly diverted to resellers behind the scenes. An investigation even revealed that a high-ranking executive from a major brand resigned after it was discovered that her own son was running a resale business that could bring in up to $200,000 a month. And what about you in all this? Now, I'd like you to ask yourself the real question. The last time you paid more for an item just because it was from a big brand, what exactly did you buy? Was it the product or the story attached to it? The Dior bag, the Luxottica glasses, the De Beers diamond, the Burberry coat that gets burned? In every case, the product itself is worth only a fraction of its price. What you're really paying for is a story of rarity, prestige, and authenticity, carefully crafted to disarm your judgment. And there's an economic term for this mechanism. Researchers call it information asymmetry. The idea was theorized in 1970 by the economist George Akerlof in a work that earned him the Nobel Prize. The principle is simple and formidable. In a transaction, the seller always knows much more than you do about what he's selling. And it's precisely this knowledge gap that he monetizes. He's not selling an object, but your ignorance of its true value. By the way, if you want to keep seeing behind the scenes of big brands, consider subscribing. On this channel, we break down how empires are built, and more importantly, how they collapse. So next time you hold an overpriced product, make it a simple habit. Ask yourself what you're really paying for, the material and the labor, or the logo. And the story, separate the object from the narrative. The day you see the narrative, you stop paying for it blindly. And believe me, once you know this, you can never unlearn it. And if this mechanism of manufactured scarcity has opened your eyes, you're going to be amazed when you discover the 4 techniques that Rolex uses to make you pay much more for a watch than its real value, as shown in the video on screen.